This week on the Ocean Cruises podcast, I'm having a chat with Riley and Elayna from sailing vessel Vagabonde Free. Riley and Elayna have developed a wealth of experience cruising for over 9 years now in Europe, the Americas, the Pacific and now Asia. Their experience has been on a production monohull, a performance catamaran and now a performance trimaran built by Rapido. They became very popular through the videos that they were sharing on YouTube since they first started sailing, and have since joined forces with the YCA, developed the Sea People app, started a clothes line, published books, started a sailing and charter and training company called Vagabonde Adventures, and also have taken part in multiple philanthropic efforts throughout their journey. They're now cruising Asia in their new boat and are currently making plans to sail to Japan, where they will stay for the winter. If you want to follow their journey and see how they live, visit their YouTube channel, which is called Sailing La Vagabonde. Whilst on a mission to sail around the world, my job is actually running a sailing festival called Odyssey. We started in the BVI last year, and this year it's going to be taking place in Greece on the 14th of September. The Odyssey Sailing Festival is a week-long experience on the water, learning how to sail, live on a boat and hanging out with some of the coolest people who you will all know as your cruising guides and mentors. We head out of the marina as a fleet of boats with the intention of giving everyone the best week of sailing in their lives. The boats are all brand new monohulls and catamarans. It's an all-inclusive week with a private chef. Our skippers this year are some of the most impressive people in the world of sailing. Brady and Blue from Delos, world record holder Dustin Reynolds, below deck yacht captain Glenn Shephard, Erica and Warren from Weasail, Erik the Viking, Dan and Kika from Sailing Uma, Tripp and Kiera from Apparent Winds, Lauren Landers, and the world's youngest circumnavigator Laura Dekker. If you're interested in joining for the week, check out theoceancruises.com/Odyssey for more information on this incredible week of sailing.
So
Italy.
this is the stretch, between Italy and Sicily.
Okay.
It's
Have you
where,
caught any
like,
swordfish?
No, but we're watching plenty of people catch them.
Yeah.
What's actually really cool. Yeah, do you know what? The currents were that rough yesterday coming in. Like, we just didn't want to put the line out at all. We were doing about 6.5 under engine. Then we turned around the corner and entered the Straits, and all of a sudden it just went bang to like 1.5. I was like, okay, so this is going to be difficult.
I don't think that we had too many hectic currents there. We either timed it quite well or...
We just ran over some fishing lines and Riley had to hop in the water at night to free us, and we also got some massive swordfish.
Did we catch a swordfish?
Yeah.
No. We've never caught a swordfish.
On the line. No, we didn't pull it in, but we got it on the line, remember?
Nah.
A huge thing jumping out of the water.
It wouldn't have been a swordfish. Swordfish are real deep.
Pretty
Apart from the ones that they spear on the surface, but they're
Yeah,
sleeping.
that's true.
Marlin.
Yeah.
Well, these are the ones that they're spearing. Like, they've got the boats with the huge platform that extends way out, and they're actually controlling it from a helm station, which is like the top of a, I don't know, mast. Looks like an electricity pylon, but they're controlling it at the boat at the top. But yesterday when we were coming in, there was like 6 of them like circling the area where we wanted to anchor. We were like, shit, if one of these things hits us, it's going to clean out everything on our deck. So we were a bit intimidated by it. But they're on the front with the harpoon.
Yep, exactly, yeah. I remember seeing them and reading about it. Remember that?
Cool, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, glad you survived the Strait.
Do you know what was actually really interesting last night? So you're anchored with the current, you're not anchoring with the wind. So what was pretty annoying is we got in, it was like 35 degrees yesterday. The boat was boiling because I repainted the hull blue, which was a stupid mistake and I absolutely regret now. But yeah, so about, I think 1 a.m, the boat just starts like turning like that, just literally spinning round like quite quick. And I look around and there's just like mini whirlpools forming like all around the boat. Loads of them.
We had that off Gibraltar. We were actually motoring along.
Yeah.
And then we just span around in a circle. And I looked at the helm and I looked at it later and I was like, what on earth is going on here? We were motoring at like 4.5 knots or something, and then
just don't know what's
just a massive upwelling, and we just went like that. It was hectic.
It's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Med's got a few surprises. It's been a long time since you were here, eh? When you had your little monohull. That must seem like a lifetime ago now.
Well, we came in the cat too. We've done a few seasons.
Oh yeah, Nutrimare.
Yeah, we came back again, and did a trip around.
Yeah, we've done the monohull, then the cat when we first got it, then we crossed the Atlantic and came back to Portugal. So we did Portugal, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, nice. Yeah, God, that must seem like such a long time ago in comparison to like where you started on your first boat, and where you keep on adding hulls. They don't do 4 hulls, which is unfortunate because that would be the natural progression.
People ask that. They're like, "What's next?"
Yeah. I think we'll stick with 3.
Yeah,
3 seems manageable.
You know, I'm a monohull guy. I always have been. I always like the look of like a more classic boat than a performance boat. Although I do like performance catamarans. Performance trimaran has never come into my mind whatsoever. But I've watched some of the videos that you've put out with that boat. That boat is insane and incredible and rapid. Like it looks like an absolute weapon on the water.
Yeah, man, it really is. It sails quite well. We're dialing it in. We're getting better and better all the time. You do have to put up some very big, like huge square meter sails. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but just trust me, they're big and heavy and difficult to hoist and to really get it fired up. So I think our best day ever was that one when we're doing 19 in 16 knots.
19. Yeah, like
oh my god,
20.
not just surfing down a wave, like
but those conditions were absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
a better example, which because I don't like when people say their best day sailing ever. Like a normal sail is sort of just below wind speed with 10 knots on a beam.
So that's perfect conditions in that boat.
Not perfect, but it's often what we've had. So we'll be doing 9 in 10 knots, something like that.
But the best part about the new boat for me, like, is
the small sails.
And I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting this boat to be really overwhelming and for us to take a long time to get a hold of it, a hang of it, and to be able to work together. But like, it's been so manageable for you and I, and we've had so much fun. It has like sparked a new love for sailing that I didn't even know was in me because it's so responsive. Like, you do something and
it's fun, man.
It's fun. It's like a toy boat, but it's huge. And also, like, crazy when you have the big sails up. Like, that is a lot. But, like, normally, just, we love it. We freaking love it.
What boat are you in there, Andy? That looks like a my old Bimini. It's not a Cyclades 43.
Can you tell by the Bimini?
Yeah.
Could be anything. It's a Jeanneau 54 DS. So, it's from 2004. It's probably like the last decent... I'm probably going to piss off a lot of people by saying this, but the engineers at Jeanneau have said this as well. It's the last decent boat that Jeanneau made. It was the last one they made to like their old type of build quality before they flipped into doing charter boats with like the Noosan Odysseys. Like, it's got a really strong structure, it's built really well. It's not an Oyster or a Halberg Grassi or anything like that, but considering it is a production boat from like the early 2000s, it's a pretty strong build. It's all right.
Yep. Yeah, nice one. I met a guy who was having all sorts of troubles on his Halberg Grassi. He was like really, really annoyed. And then we've just found that our dagger board case is cracked all the way around. So these people should know that there's boats have a lot of problems. Yeah,
they do.
Most often it's brand new boats I'm finding as well. I don't know what the issue is with manufacturers these days. It just seems like they're not caring too much about what they put out. But we've come across so many people this season who've bought literally brand new boats straight out of the factory, straight out of the boat show. And like 6 months in, like the repair list is like absolutely crazy. But like bizarre stuff, like stuff that shouldn't be breaking, not pumps or random bits, but like pretty severe stuff.
So I think people just need to understand that that's going to happen. And then there's the things that shouldn't happen, which is probably, you would probably know that. And then you're like, but the structure should be sound, the rigging should be fine. Like the sails should all fit. Like there are things like that are just absolute no-brainers. But there's so many different things. It's like having your house and your car all wrapped up into one. And that's semi-custom. And they're just not building them in the numbers that they're building cars. Yeah, and then exactly
Yeah,
sitting it on the ocean and beating it up. Like,
But that's all part of the fun,
shaking it.
right? If we're not fixing something, what are we doing? Enjoying a sunset? Like,
I've got to be honest, I'm getting pretty tired of fixing my boat. Every time I go out sailing now, I'm like, I just go around and do a brief check on the deck, like, okay, is there anything falling off? Is there anything broke? What's not working?
yeah.
But it's normally, it's like you said, if you're in a house, you know, your toilet is basically stationary for potentially 100 years in some old houses. They never move. Everything else is just literally sat in place. So yeah, if you get all that stuff, put it in plastic and then send it out on the ocean, you're going to experience a few problems, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah, and people don't understand that.
Yeah. How's yours been? Because you've had yours on the water for a little while now. Has there been any teething issues with it, or has it been more just about, like, 'cause you had an engine issue, didn't you? Like, there was something wrong with the Yanmar.
Yeah.
I remember you putting something online about that.
So I won't point the finger anywhere.
Well, it's only a Yanmar engine, so it's not Volvo's fault.
Yeah, exactly. So the water was leaking back into it. So it needed to have a loop that goes up, the name of which I've forgotten, like a siphon loop, maybe.
Yeah, the anti-siphon. Yeah.
Yeah, the anti-siphon loop, exactly. And that hadn't been installed, but it had been ticked off and like okayed by, several different people.
So yeah, this was something that wasn't checked. And
it was full of salt water.
Yeah, we sailed across the South China Sea and we had some crazy conditions and water was coming in all angles, and unfortunately it came in and flooded the engine, and we're so lucky that we had the electric engine as a backup, because that's what saved us in the end. So we got a hybrid boat, and it actually proved itself that was a good idea on that very first crossing.
Yeah,
we came into our marina using the electric propulsion. So
I posted the photos of the engine, like they'd pulled it apart, and we were like, I put the photos on Facebook on like the Yanmar owners group, and there were old men who were like crying. They're like, "This is a brand new engine! Like, what a travesty!" And it's like rust is like crazy, leaking out of the head. Yeah, it was a disaster.
Did they ever save that in the end? We deemed it like we cannot have this in our boat.
Yeah, apparently it could have been salvaged.
Probably they used it.
Yeah, they could have cleaned it.
On the next one.
Probably going into the next one. Yeah, that's a difficult one where to point the finger, because it's like, I'm pretty sure Yanmar would recommend an anti-siphon loop, but I imagine them saying it might not be necessary if the boat doesn't heal. And obviously your boat doesn't heal that much, so yeah, I don't know whose fault that would be.
Apparently, I don't know. It tends to be a lot of that Spider-Man meme where everyone's sort of pointing the finger at each other, and it goes around in a big circle. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess
it was ticked off.
Guess I'll try.
And everyone's pointing fingers.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, we got a new engine. It didn't cost.
Yeah, you got a new one.
Exactly.
It was an inconvenience.
Get rid of that one. It's got 5 hours on it. We can't have that.
5 hours. Oh my god, that's got to be a record for a Yanmar blowing up. That 5 hours of use, and then it's full of water. That is such a shame. Did that hinder your cruising quite a lot? Because obviously it must have been a while waiting around for a new engine.
We're not set up to be totally electric. But we tried it for a while. It's challenging. I mean, you're sailing 100% of the time, or 99.4.
Yeah.
So we did it. We didn't go very far.
We spent like 2 or 3 weeks just trialing just electric, and it was a struggle.
Yeah, because we don't have the battery bank to back up that type of sailing, because we're not set up like that. Because we've got a big fuel tank in there, which was our primary means of propulsion.
Yeah.
So we did it for a little bit. And it was quite difficult, because the stove top is electric, and Elayna would like heat up something just for a coffee, and I'm like, that's enough.
Careful with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I always we're pretty heavy on the solar. We've got 1.4 kilowatts. Mostly of rigid, but then a couple of flexibles on the bimini up here, and we've got 900 amp hours of lithium, so we're good. We never really have an energy problem. But when we finish the day and the sun's gone down and we're on 100%, and then the electric stove turns on, and it's like, wow, we're at 70. That was real quick. They suck up the energy. They're crazy, those things.
Yeah,
they do.
Our battery bank is pretty massive. It can absorb the cooktop pretty easily. But if you want to sort of motor 40 miles or something like that now, where it's
steep.
disappearing, it's gone by 70% or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've looked into it a lot because I'm just obsessed with how boats are built and how they're engineered and how we can improve them and stuff like that, and also electric propulsion. I've trialled it on my dinghy on my high field, and it's not there. It's not there even for a dinghy, to be honest. When you look at the weight of the batteries and then the output you can actually get from those batteries, not just by ramming the throttle and getting 20 minutes out of it, but what speed you can get for what duration, it's just not ready. It's not.
No,
it's the limitation on the batteries.
Yeah.
You could be better off. Yeah. Incorporate the workout into the motoring.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about the electric engine?
I mean, we're so close. Like that trip we did for 3 weeks, we were so close to having it fully work out and to be comfortable for me to have a hot shower. We were pretty close to that, but not quite. So it's
so
really
you get into water
time.
Heater.
No,
so you...
no, it doesn't heat the water.
Water even go hot?
No, it was so hot.
Showers
because we're in the Philippines. About 48 degrees. They were shutting down schools.
Yeah.
It was so hot, and we certainly don't have air conditioning on board. So the water wasn't heated.
No, that's right. Yeah,
it was just hot coming out of the pipes.
Yeah.
On that trip, on other trips, it heats up when we've got the engine going.
Yeah, but like you said, if we were set up just solely for electric with more batteries, then we could be fine. But we're not, so we're happy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think warm showers or warm water in general, it obviously depends where in the world you are, but I have not had a need for warm water in about 3 months now. I can't get my water tanks cool enough. That's the problem I've got. I'm trying to take cold showers and I can't.
Yeah.
So what has Asia been like as a cruising season for you? Because you've done a lot of the Med, you've done a lot of the Caribbean, you've done quite a lot of crossings, but Asia is I've never sailed there, been there a lot on holiday. How have you found it?
So we started...
it's the Wild West, dude. The navigation's off, the cruising guides are off. You find yourself, you climb a hill and you find a cruiser and he's like, "Oh, have you heard about the anchorage around the you're getting these weird... It's like Lord of the Rings adventure. You're stumbling across old maps, and it's kind of fun in that way. But
it is the Wild West, but that comes with a lot of stress as well. So we sailed Borneo, the north of Borneo, which is the country's Malaysia, and we sailed up to the Philippines, and there's a lot of stuff in the water. So usually we'd do we've always done overnight passages, but we just made a rule we cannot possibly do an overnight sail because of the shit we saw in the day. Huge
unmarked fishing.
Well, you just get trees floating down rivers and stuff.
Oh yeah, huge logs. That was the first problem, and then there were big drums. I don't even know what they were for.
44-gallon drums, and
not 44-gallon, 1,000-gallon. These
that's
drums
an oil
were
drum.
Super size.
Sorry?
I don't know.
So that's oil drum size.
Yeah, exactly. Big oil drums tied together in the middle of the ocean for FADs.
And if you hit
fish
that,
aggregating. So you're sailing past. Obviously, they're not marked, and you're sailing past them, and you're just oh my god.
Yeah.
So you just don't sail at nighttime. So you do little hops, and anchorages are pretty good anchorages are pretty hard to come by. And then the most difficult thing is basically everywhere. There's reef, which is great, right? Yeah. There should be fish. There's not really fish around, but at least there's reef, so that's cool. And the reef comes out, but then it just drops off to 20 meters. Yep. So you're always anchoring in 20 meters, and there's a bit of a shelf, and that drops away from 20 to 30 pretty quickly. So your anchoring is a challenge as well.
Yeah,
especially when you've got 40 meters.
It's pretty difficult, but we've loved the stuff we've seen ashore. There's
You're not really selling it, guys. I'm being honest. Sounds like the worst anchorage I keep on turning up at every other week here.
Yeah.
No, beautiful white sandy beaches. The people in the Philippines are maybe the friendliest I've met in the world.
Filipinos are amazing.
Yes, they're so amazing, and the palm trees, it is picture perfect, but just as a sailor, it's difficult, but we've made it work. Hey, touch wood. boat still floating.
And then throw in a couple of typhoons, mate, and it starts to get very complicated. So we're sitting in Subic Bay now, looking at going north in the thick of typhoon season. So I've got a mate coming over who's a very, very good sailor. And we're like, I've had the conversation with Elayna. I'm like, look, when we get there, we might have to not sail at all and just sit and watch.
Hole.
Yeah, sit in the hurricane hole and watch the weather for 6 weeks and basically not really make any movies, which is poor planning by me. But yeah, it's we're looking at going to Japan. Yeah, and looking at these typhoons spinning up. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we just got held up a little bit time-wise, and we should have left a little bit earlier.
The daggerboard case cracked.
The daggerboard case cracking set us back, and we should have left before the typhoon set in, but now they're set in, and
the steering rod bent.
How did that happen? Well, did you hit something with the rudder?
No. Nah, the steering rod was just rubbing on a piece of fiberglass, which was slightly off center. So that sort of wore away at the rod itself, which means that there's a weak point, so then that could bend. And then the daggerboard case we're still trying to get to the bottom of, but that sits under the mast, which is pretty structural.
Yeah.
So yeah, that it could be a really bad thing, or hopefully not, but
hopefully not. That sounds fucking horrendous.
yeah, that's a big one. So we're just looking we're looking at laminating that.
Yeah,
we're getting more information back from M&M and then looking at laminating it. But when these typhoons are coming past, it like rains for 6 days, so you can't do any laminating when that's going on.
Yeah, a boat
the humidity's
floating away in the marina. Like the marina, there was so much storm surge that the dock is like nearly coming off. So like
you know the poles that it floats up? It's
going like right at the top of the poles.
Up and floating off the whole marina.
So stressful times aboard the Vagabonde. I hope we make it to Japan this year. We'll see.
Well, okay, so Japan is... I think the place I want to arrive at first that I'm most excited... I'm not that excited about the Caribbean. We're in the Med. We're here for a little while for visa reasons because of my wife. She's from Syria. And she cannot get a visa to go anywhere. Nobody wants Syrians to turn up in their country. So we're waiting to get her a Spanish passport, then we're heading out. That's why we're here now. Otherwise, we would have been somewhere else already. I'm looking forward to getting to French Polynesia, but then next is Japan. 100% Japan. That is it's the most fascinating country, like culturally, society, like what a wild place.
Yeah, they've just got their shit sorted, don't they? Everything.
Oh, so much, yeah. They've got some birth rate issues, I think. Too. Like, they're actually dying off, Japanese people, I've heard. They're at like 0 point something. I think it's less than 1 child per family now, so they need to sort that out. But I cannot wait to get cruising there.
That's how you know that your society is advanced. You're like, there's probably too many of us.
Just stopped having babies.
Yeah.
Population max. Yeah. How long are you looking at staying in Japan?
So,
5 months.
Yeah, so if we leave soon, we're going to do a winter in Tokyo. So we're going to have to buy some heaters and something to shore power. Yeah, we're so excited.
That's sick.
Now we can go check out the city. We also want to do some skiing. We've never done a ski season, so we're going to get some snowboards and see how kooky we are. We'll be very terrible, but that's okay. And February, we're thinking about leaving, and we have an option.
Well, we're going to see Idols in January.
Oh, yeah, we have a concert. Do you know the Idols? Everyone needs to listen to the
Idols. No, I've never heard of them.
Just Idols.
Oh, yeah, see.
Yeah.
Idols.
Anyway, it's a bit...
What type of music is it?
Oh...
It's like punk, but...
Punky, rock, South London.
Oh, well, that's my type of stuff. Oh, yeah, that is my type. Okay, I'm going to check him out.
I took one look at you and I was like, I'm going to drop that because I reckon he might be a fan.
So, to be honest, I haven't listened to that much music. I'm stuck in like the 1970s, 80s when it comes to rock music. I haven't really progressed past that.
I bet you.
But yeah, I'll give that a listen.
Be a fan.
So yeah, choice of Micronesia after Tokyo, or we can go back to like the islands around Okinawa, which I really want to spend a lot of time at because like they got inspiration from the movie Avatar, like somewhere around there, and I want to go find where that is. And
nice.
You know, there's a Okinawa's a blue zone, so I want to see what they're up to. Like they're eating some blue
food they're eating,
and
see if we can get your LDL back down to manageable level.
Cruising goal.
So I'm hoping
that's really
Japan,
nice.
Yeah, for another few months after, like into next year. That'd be nice.
Yeah, wintering in Tokyo. Oh my god. You know, I love a chilled out anchorage, you know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh, there's a beautiful cliff, there's a nice beach, there's a tree, that's pretty. But like, I love anchoring in front of like a bit of a busy city, you know, like where you can just see life happening everywhere you look. And like wintering in Tokyo would just be brilliant.
Yeah, I mean,
So I'm looking forward to it too, mate. I'm the same. I really love fishing and spearfishing, and as you get closer to a city, that can't be done. So we might as well be parked right out the front where the action is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
What's the city that we parked out the front of?
I mean, like Charleston. Like, there's been some big cities.
Yeah,
for sure. But
Charleston.
It's like
Malta.
It's not Tokyo, is it?
No, Charleston's not Tokyo.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we don't spend a lot of time around cities. It's one of those things like we think we love it, but then after like a week, we're getting sucked into all the, the stimulation. Like it's so
drugs and rock and roll.
Just go off the rails, like bender off the bender.
So are you going to stay north of the equator then, from the Marquises, and go to, or are you going to drop down to the Tuamotus and then back up to the Marshall Islands?
Yeah, we'll do the latter. Our goal is basically like to sail around the world, but actually intentionally make it take as long as possible, because we don't want to like leave a country and then see a photo of an anchorage like a year later that looks great and we're like, oh, we didn't go to that. Like that would really piss me off. So we want to just take our time. The past 2 years have been super busy on this boat because I basically bought this out of a yard. It was a piece of shit, and then I spent like 6 months refitting it by myself. Then that was in Greece, so it's a case of, okay, get it back from Greece to Spain as soon as possible, pick up my family, pick up the cats. I think we did about 3 months of cruising last year. Then this year has been, okay, get it back from Spain to Greece. Because we've got the festival on September the 14th in Greece, so we've been heading back to Athens for that. So it's been a bit of a race, and sailing across the Med, albeit only 2,000 miles, like it can be challenging because the weather just changes like day by day. It flips 180. Like it's
and there's like
difficult.
Too much wind or not enough. Like it's really challenging.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like a code zero and an asymmetrical, I'd say if you've got the cash, it's absolutely worth the investment for sailing across the Med, because otherwise you're just motoring a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right, okay, so heading over to Japan, that's going to be pretty cool. Have you thought about where you want to go beyond that? Because obviously you've done the Med quite a bit, but I suppose sailing around South Africa has got its challenges as well. If you're looking at coming back this way, like, what are you thinking?
Well, we did the
We've
Pacific.
got several like big sort of ideas. Patagonia, maybe.
Yeah, we were thinking.
I might nip around the world on a foiling trimaran.
Yeah, so there's a few things going on. Riley does want to do a big round the world sail by himself at some point.
Could that be a world record? Has anybody done that?
Like silliest or lowest IQ man to ever sail around world. I don't know. No, I wouldn't.
Australian attempts.
Or slowest attempt on
export.
Yeah.
He wants to do that at some point, and we also want to take our boat like down to New Zealand and do the Southern Ocean to Patagonia. Patagonia is a place we really want to sail to.
Oh, very nice.
So that's on the cards, but we also want to see more of the Pacific because we did that once, and we just loved like Tahiti, Bora Bora, or the Tuamotus, those atolls, the rings of reef, because we like to dive and spearfish, and there's so much sea life there. It's really off the beaten track, so we want to get back there too. So we're kind of torn.
It's a big world, Andy.
And we can only have a plan 6 months ahead. So yeah, I don't know. Ask us in another 6 months and we might know. But Japan for now is just our focus, and we'll see.
Yeah. Getting through the typhoons, getting the dagger board fixed. This all comes before you start planning 4 years ahead.
How long have you been on the water for, mate?
In this boat now?
No, or just cruising for in general. Like how long?
Quite a long time. I had my first boat, I think, when I was 16 or 17. Yeah, 16 or 17, but that was in North Wales, and then I moved it to the Lake District. These are actually very cool places to have boats, by the way. You might not know about them. Then I moved abroad. So when I was 20, I left the UK, and then I just started living overseas. So spent a lot of time in Asia, Africa, Middle East for 10 years. Obviously did not own a boat. We did a lot of charters. And then when we moved back to Europe 7 years ago, we got a Moody. It's like an old school British sailing boat. Really fantastic boats, actually. So yeah, I suppose in terms of like cruising, 7 years. This is we're 2.5 years into this boat.
Yeah,
Nice.
amazing. Because I wanted to ask you, like Elayna and I were discussing before, she's been living on a boat as a cruiser for a full 1/3 of her life. And
since she became an adult, really.
Sorry?
All of Elena's adult life is living on a sailboat, more or less.
Yeah, basically, yeah. We've had stints off, but that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I've been, mine's some very large portion as well. But when Elayna says, "Oh, we might go here or we might go here," my mind is like a map, and I can see the trade winds and the boat going in different places, and like linking up. And I'm like, "Oh, that's a bad spot. Like, there's hurricanes there," and so like it used to cause, mild amounts of stress, because she'd be like, "Oh, let's go here," and like I'm like, "No, that's not right. We can't."
But now you kind of see the world as this living organism, which it is, and you've like learned
Yeah,
the
very
patterns.
cool.
That's such a beautiful thing, and like I wonder if I never had sailed, if I would have figured that out. Like, that's
No, you got to
like
live it.
going to sleep and having that kind of geography, like.
But do you do that too?
Nice.
Do you have like this internal map and you like where your boat's going?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and
Cool.
To be honest, it's the only thing I really think about, other than fixing my boat when it breaks. Yeah, that's that's kind of it.
So I'm the same. I spend hundreds and hundreds of hours just looking at maps and zooming in on navionics and zooming out and looking at.
Mate, I'm
places
checking
where
out
it might be
anchorages like literally in Japan, like at least every other week or something like that. I'm just scouting, and I'm like, oh, if we go there, where can we go? That's got protection. That looks nice. Like, it's in your blood, isn't it? It's what you live for. I think some people are genuinely born to live on the water.
Vagabonde Adventures was set up by Riley and Elayna and is run by sailing coach Jack Carger, who's Riley's cousin, a good mate, and a phenomenal sail instructor. They offer sailing weeks in Europe, ocean passages, flotillas, cruise training and performance catamaran training. They have a bunch of opportunities available for this summer in Greece and Croatia, and are planning some awesome sailing weeks in their Outremer 45 in the Abacos next year. Visit vagabondeadventures.com to see what is available and what type of sailing you fancy. Enjoy!
Elayna, that's pretty nuts, actually. Like, basically, since you were a grown-up, you've only lived on boats. That's quite bizarre.
Yeah, it is actually.
She's a strange woman.
Strange woman, getting stranger by the day.
I tell you, just take it back to the start a little bit, because that's super interesting. Actually, I mean, your story is just like incredibly fascinating. Not just in terms of like what you've managed to do in terms of boat owners and cruisers, but also like the business side of what you've been able to do, which I think was kind of by accident as well, really, because this whole industry that you're a part of didn't really exist until you started doing it. That's a pretty insane transition. When you started doing this, you were kind of just a couple of Aussies out in the Med, just living it up like all the Aussies are. You know what I mean? They're all having a great time over here. And you've
Apologies
turned into like
brethren.
they are my favourite people. You know what I say about Australians? Australians are British people if you put them in the sun for generations. Basically, same sense of humour, great people to spend time with, but they're happy because they've had sun. We're miserable because it's always grey. I think that's the way.
Oh yeah,
that's
okay. That's a very kind way to describe it. I've heard Englishmen describe us less kindly, so I'll roll with that.
No, I'm not into those people, mate. No, I'm pro-Australian.
Okay, yeah, so it was 2014 and I was living and working in Greece. I used to do I was a dive master there, and also I was playing music for a travel company, just guitar and singing. And Riley sailed. He just bought the boat. He bought the boat 2 years prior, but he was still he would come sail his boat in the Med, then fly all the way back to Australia and continue working on the oil rigs, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. So he did that for years before he met me. And we met out one night, and I actually noticed him because he looked quite grumpy. He was like in the square where everyone's jolly and everyone's having a good time, and he was the only one who didn't look happy. And I was like, what's wrong with him? Like,
he was having boat problems. That's what was wrong with him.
Boat problems. No, his friend was really drunk and he was having to look after him, Jimmy, who ended up introducing us, which was super convenient.
Yeah, so you got a pass for that night, Jimmy.
Yeah, he did. It was all for a reason. Anyway, we met that night and we exchanged numbers, and he said, I'm going back to the boat if you and your mates want to come. Like, I'm just down at the marina. I'm leaving now. And we were like...
Which was code.
Yeah, it was code. But also, I didn't believe he had a boat. I thought it was just like a pickup line, because at the time a lot of guys...
Why didn't you believe that? Why didn't you believe that?
Because he looked too young. I was like, he can't possibly have a boat. And he didn't tell me that the whole night we were talking. And he waited until last minute to say, I'm going back to the boat. And
that was my move. You wait.
It was an instant whip up.
You wait right at the end, and then you're like...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it seemed like a lie. It didn't work in your favour because...
Well, it did.
Well, I mean, eventually, but not that night.
It totally did. It completely works.
Yeah.
So me and my friend looked at each other. We were like, "Oh, damn it! Like he's some weirdo. Like I don't know what he's playing at now."
And I was.
Let's run away. And so we ran away that night. Me and my friend hopped in a taxi, and anyway, I think the next day or something, I looked at his profile and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was like him on his boat, and I was like, "Oh my god, he did have a boat. I feel so bad." And we messaged. He took me for a day sail, and then I think he had another stint back at work. And when he came back, he was like, I'm leaving the island. Do you want to come island hopping with me? Do you want to quit your job and come?
I took you for a sail first.
Yeah. You took me for maybe even 2 sails.
Yeah. With Jimmy and Neil and Oki.
Yeah, Riley had some friends come visit, and he's like, do you want to quit your job and come island hopping in Greece? And I was like, yes. Like, as if, but I had a month left of my contract, and so I had to ask my boss, and he was like, Elayna, of course you have to go. Like, go, you're crazy. And I'm like, thank you.
He was Greek, your boss.
He was actually Swedish. That was a terrible Swedish accent.
Oh, right. Right, okay.
And after the month was up, Riley, on the last day, he waited until I was about to fly back to Australia. Like, it was the end of our trip, so it was really, like, sad. And he was like, Elayna, I think you should go back to Australia and sell all your shit and come back and live on this boat with me. And I was like, what? Remember? In the hotel room?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and then obviously I went back to Australia and I asked my friends and they were like, you absolutely have to do it. And I was like, are you sure? Like, this is kind of crazy. And like, you have to. Like, you'd hate yourself if you didn't. And I'm like, I know. It's just one of those things you have to do, right? Like,
yeah.
Even though it's
were you
risky,
hooked as soon as you first went on the boat and you started sailing, or like obviously you're a natural traveller? Like, was it the travelling aspect of being able to like explore all the Greek islands, or did you actually love being on the boat?
I mean, I think I was naive. I was super young. So I didn't really, I trusted Riley and trusted that he knew what he was doing.
Incredibly naive.
Super naive. And I was just happy to be there.
Riley.
I was just super happy to be there and didn't realise that when we were heeling over like this and our mast is nearly freaking touching the water, I thought that was normal. So, I think that's also why you were like, come back and live on this boat with me, because you have no idea what's going on. Like, you're just here for a good time.
Yeah, I knew a little bit by then.
No, you did. I'm saying I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no, you were. I mean, you were great.
No, I had a lot to learn, but I'd done a fair bit of sailing by myself before I'd met you.
Yeah, but we'd never done an overnight sail until we were back together on the boat. Like, that was from Crete to Malta.
Yeah. I had, but I didn't sleep.
You didn't? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was like all of a sudden, like he wanted to quit his job in Australia, and that was it. So now we were like full-time sailors, and you had to learn a lot really quickly, and I had to learn everything really quickly. So it was a hot mess.
Pretty stressful.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I think it was a bit of a good thing that you knew nothing about it and you jumped straight into it. Like, something that I've noticed about a lot of cruisers is they've owned a boat for a while, it's been in a marina, they've done day sails, and they build up so much anxiety over doing a passage for the first time or an overnight sail for the first time.
Crossing the Gulf Stream, dude. crossing the Gulf
yeah, I
Stream
mean,
in the US to get to the Bahamas. It's like this huge thing, and we're like, guys, it's really not.
Yeah. Is that the what is it? The Thorny Passage? Is that the same thing as the Gulf Stream?
No,
is that a different area?
That's feeding into it to get down to the Caribbean.
Right.
So
Do you know
you go past
when it comes...
the Dominican Republic and...
Right, that's what that is. I think everybody should start out sailing in the Med. Like, if you start sailing in the Med, you will be great at sailing. Yeah, really. Yeah. Like, if you can deal with like 180-degree like flips in wind like 4 times a day whilst you're on passage, like you can pretty much deal with any trade wind environment that's going to get thrown at you.
That is exactly what we say. Yeah, like we thought that was like normal when we first started, that you would experience all these different winds and like so many sail changes, and then once we hit the trade winds, we're like, oh, this is nice. But
this is easy.
You get a bit of everything in the Med. You can go out in a Meltemi when it's 40 knots. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. We did the last festival in the BVI in December last year, and I've been to the Caribbean quite a lot, but it's the first time I've ever like cruised the Caribbean. I've sailed there a number of times, crossing the Atlantic, but I've never been based there and like cruised on catamaran flotillas. And it was insane to me because I was looking like we were planning what we were going to do for the week when we started it. And Alex and Brady were a huge help for this because they've like cruised in that area quite a lot. And they were like, okay, well, so for the months of like, October to January, these are the anchorages which we'll be going to. I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, it's just these anchorages. The wind always comes from that direction or maybe that direction. And these are all the anchorages you can go to. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so easy. That makes cruising so nice.
I know, to this. Yeah, that does,
So, you immediately, like, jumped into living on the boat. Rals, you were working on the, what were you doing on the rigs? I'm from oil and gas.
You are?
Yeah. What were you working on the rigs?
I ended up on a pipelay barge as, like, a line-up operator. I was in the end, but I was a rigger, and then before then... a roustabout on the oil rigs.
Oh, nice. So, a couple of different things. All right, that's quite cool. So you bought the boat, then you made a decision to start like traveling around the world and experiencing stuff. When did the idea of like putting videos online kick in and like actually putting a bit of effort into it? So, Elayna, I know you started making them at first, and it was like definite home video type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But when did you think that it could go somewhere?
That was a bit of tension between us at the start because there was a lot to do and a lot to learn, and Elayna was faffing about on her camera and then her laptop editing. But she made this really nice video, and it went I get like for 0 subscribers to just pop it on the internet, it would be fair to say viral. So it got like, I don't know, say 80,000 views or whatever, and we immediately had 10,000 subscribers or 15,000 subscribers or something like that. Like, it was pretty wild. There was not much like that going on at the time.
Yeah.
And then
we got in at a good time, I think, because this is when travel vlogging was all coming about. Like, this is 10 years ago at the time of Pacey Neistat, and like Lindy Cole, they were posting daily videos. Ben Brown, like, there weren't many travel vloggers around then, and then we pop up with a boat.
Yeah.
The shittest videos ever. But like, I think the reason I wanted to put it online was because I saw Riley. And I feel really bad because I kind of like, he bought this boat to leave shore and to get away from, everything, leave the rat race. And then here I am. I'm like, wait a minute. You bought a boat.
I need to show this to the world.
I can monetize this, baby. Like, I'm going to monetize it. And so...
we need it.
Yeah, I mean, Riley had saved up some money. I had $0 to my name. And I was like, I need a way to, like... make this sustainable because this life is so exciting and I don't want to go back to living on land. So I used to always make videos just of my travels. Like, I traveled around Australia in a van, just my time in Greece. I would always make these little homemade videos, backpacking in Europe, and they were terrible, but they were fun.
And your friends when you were a kid.
Yeah, and I used to make videos as a kid. Oh my gosh, we should actually post some of those.
Nice.
We used to like remake horror movies. I've made The Grudge. I've made Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, so good. But anyway.
You remade Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah,
home video, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Did you kill anyone?
Don't tell anyone. But
Go on,
anyway,
Mama.
I started filming on Riley's camera. It was Riley's, but he never used it. And I was like, this is a sick it was a Canon Power Shot, awesome camera. He's like, yeah, my mum told me
nice.
to buy a camera to take some photos. You can start videoing if you want. Like, I'm not going to use it. And I was like, sick. So I just picked it up and started filming, made this video, and then I approached Riley with it. And I was like, I really want to put it on YouTube and see what happens. And he was like, no, I don't want to be on the internet. That's weird. That's exactly what you said. You're like, no, that's weird. And I was like, okay.
Well, it is weird.
It is weird. Like,
Being on the internet is weird. I was going to say, there's a lot of accuracy in that.
What a weird concept. You film your life and you put it online for others to see. Like, it is pretty bizarre. And you were against it. And so I left it for weeks. And then I approached him again. And I was like, have another look. And he's like, oh, whatever. And so
it went sort of viral in our little way at the time. And I don't know if you've ever seen, there's this episode of South Park where they show all these like internet famous people, like the panda that sneezes and then that dude with the lightsaber, and they've all got like, you know, hundreds of millions of views, and they get paid in internet dollars, and they're like kind of famous but for 2 minutes, and it's just worth nothing. And that's what was going on in my mind. Like, Elena's like, we've gone viral. Like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, if we're going to do this work, you know, we've got a sail to repair, the rigging's coming apart. Like, there are some other immediate issues here.
Well, you couldn't earn much money from it at the time. Like, that was when like people were doing Vines and trying to get like sponsorship deals out of like 9-second videos and stuff. YouTube was new. Like, it was somewhere that you went for like history lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fully.
Yeah. Well, it was nothing. We weren't making anything.
Yeah. So there was a bit of tension
for however long until we quit.
And it was stressful. Yeah. In a year, we had to set up Riley's boat for blue water cruising because it wasn't set up for that. It was a production boat and nothing had been done to it. So we had to put solar panels on it, a wind vane, not a wind vane, a wind generator, and all these things, like just dollar signs, just your savings is just going down. And I'm still making movies, hoping. And within a year, it got to the point where we were like, okay, we need to take this boat out of the water for hurricane season and go back to Australia and work.
Yeah, but we would not post for like a month because we've crossed the Atlantic or something, and people are freaking out. They're like, where are you guys? What's going on?
I'm so worried.
Like trying to contact us, contacting like various port authorities, and it was people were really invested, particularly at the start when it was all new.
Yeah, we were. I mean, if you had have seen us, you would have been very worried about us too. Like,
for sure they did.
Yeah, fairly concerned. Well, do you know, like, just between the two of you, it's probably a different answer for both of you, but like Riley, you bought a boat pretty much, you know, no prior experience in like boat ownership and sailing and stuff like that. Elayna, you moved onto that boat when you had no idea about sailing. At what point do you think you individually felt confident in terms of like being on the water, ocean passages, you know, repairing the boat if it breaks? Like, at what point did both of you, because when you first get a boat and you're new to it, a lot of moments are like, oh fuck, like this is going to go wrong, this is a disaster, what's going to happen? So like, when did that flip over and you were like, no, this is where we belong, we can manage this, there's no issues?
I don't know if there was a specific moment, but yeah, I remember talking about this with some people, and I said, like, at a certain point, I think if something went wrong now, I would feel unlucky rather than stupid. And so that was the turning point. I don't know when that was. You might call it 2.5 years in.
Maybe after your like Tonga to New Zealand solo sail, you did 10 days at sea.
I was pretty confident by then.
Yeah, you were. Yeah,
single-handed. So
for me, it took longer because he was the captain, and so like his priority was like reinforcing the rudder, and then I was there with the camera. So like for me, I was kind of like trying to set up some financial, like we needed some revenue stream, and I didn't always get as much time. I'm the sugar mama. I didn't get as much time outside at the helm because my head was in like posting weekly videos. Like, it is insane to try and maintain that out at sea. Like, the things we have done just to get a video up, Like, we've had to put a laptop under a restaurant in Tahiti where the water was rising and leave it plugged in, just trying to upload a video overnight. Like,
Yeah, there was that school teacher.
The school teacher who ate big cookies in the Tuamotus, and we had to share. Anyway,
primary school that we approached for some internet.
Yeah. Anyway, it's mayhem. And
Yeah,
we
Stealing their basic facilities.
So yeah, it took me a lot longer to like get a grasp on it, and I feel like
when do you think?
It would have been like on the catamaran.
When?
I don't know, like sometime in the Med, just getting the mainsail up and out, and there was that funny loop I did once. Remember? Because I got so pissed off at the sail. But yeah, I wish it could have just like sailing could have been my number one focus, but it wasn't, and for good reason, because now we get to fund the lifestyle. Yeah. It was worth it, but it was hard.
Yeah, it takes a while to get there, and you have to go through quite a bit of shit as well. Like, you have to have a number of things break on you. You have to get caught out a number of times to just have confidence in your boat also. You know, like, oh, well, okay, 50 knots is fine. That's not going to do anything. Well, you know, or your mast goes in the water. Oh, it'll just pop back up. That's not a big deal. Like, it takes a bit of experience to get there.
And then also accepting the fact that, you know, sometimes shit goes wrong and there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah, because you're not in control. You're just reacting.
No, you're not.
That's the thing. You're literally just reacting to what gets thrown at you.
Yeah.
Right. Riles, just no, I think you should definitely write a book on like how to move to Greece, find a really pretty lady and just coerce them into like moving on a sailboat. I think every sailor in the world would probably buy that book. So that's a side business I think you should look into.
I was on a podcast with Bert Kreischer, and it was pretty funny. He was like, "Explain."
Oh, I listened to that. I like Bert.
And I was like, so I dropped the gangplank down, and we walked off, and it was your birthday, and like we went into like a Greek restaurant, and he goes, "So you pumped her full of wine and squid, and sealed the deal." And I was like, "Yeah, basically, like
wine and squid."
So
That just sounds like, it's just a recipe for vomit.
Yeah.
He's got a way of delivering. That's pretty good. Right, I tell you, actually, one thing I want to talk about, because I just started using this a few days ago. Brian and Logan they've been trying to get me onto the beta version because I'm on Android. I just started using Sea People like 3 days ago. Don't have an iPhone, so that's the reason why it's taken so long. We're going through the kinks now, getting all the feedback through and stuff. But this is a great app. I loved it immediately. I was just going on there. I was like, oh, they've done that many nautical miles that slow. What type of conditions did they have? And I was just like looking through all of them, so interested. And people are putting videos on, and the social aspects of it is great. I think once that app has got like more users, it will just be like the go-to. If you're on the water and you want to start meeting people and learning stuff, like download this app. And you've played a big part in this, so just talk everyone through that so people can just learn about it and how this all started.
Yeah, so probably what, two years ago?
No, it's gonna be three at least.
Yeah,
I've been talking about it for 2 years, so it must be longer than that.
Long time. I got a message from the Young Cruisers Association, which was like the biggest sail club for young cruisers, but you know, no numbers.
Yeah, young is how you feel. Yeah.
And I really loved the club. And the message was like, "Hey Elayna, I wanted to chat to you about like maybe becoming an ambassador for something we would like to build just to connect all seafarers. Let me know if you're free for a call." And I was like, oh my gosh. And Riley and I had the idea to build an app because there was nothing out there, just to like, we just wanted a map where we could see the cruisers on the boat next to us.
And connect them with people on land if need be, and just connect everyone all together.
No, there was nothing.
Had you thought about that individually? Had that occurred to you at some point
that we needed it?
Andy?
Oh, mate, like most of my life, like as soon as apps started becoming a thing, I was like,
I know.
Yeah. There's the thing is, like, there's multiple apps where you can do a lot of this stuff, but they're all in different places, and it's like, do you want 5 or 6 apps? Do you want Navionics? Do you want Navily? Do you want to talk to people on Instagram? Do you want to try and communicate on Facebook groups with sailors? Like,
WhatsApp?
It's so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's so much work. But then I downloaded Sea People. I was just like, oh, everything is in one place here. That is incredibly convenient and cool.
Yeah, it's about the
amazing
people, and I feel like that's what we need the most out on the ocean, because it can be quite isolating and like, you can just reach out to your neighbor and be like, hey, do you know if there's a mechanic ashore or whatever? You can find the mechanic. Like, that's all coming soon. But anyway, we got excited about the message, and I was like, they definitely are going to build an app. And we had the idea for an app, and I'm like, let's hop on a call with them tonight. And we'd never met Logan and Caroline. They have a sales school in New York, which I think
they're so nice.
Sold because of the app, which is really exciting.
They're great people, aren't they?
They're amazing.
Oh yeah, super.
And we just felt like we were like, these are good. They're good eggs, and we need to collaborate for sure. And yeah, we formed a team. Brian was a part of the team too. And we started getting this app built in India for real cheap, and it was really difficult because we were learning.
Yeah, let's 5 sailors try and build this extremely technical app.
Yeah, it was
in a country
really
that produces no sailors.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a bit disheartening. Like, we'd spent a lot of money on this app, and we were sure like we were doomed. And
now it's out.
But Riley put a tweet out just being like, oh no, sorry. We put a video out where we mentioned how we're building an app to our audience, and then word got back to this guy called Jean-Michel.
Sweet Jesus.
Who's the CTO or was the CTO of Shopify. And he tweeted Riley, and it was like, Riley was like, oh my gosh, like this guy wants to help us.
No, I didn't know. I was like, oh, what's a CTO and what's Shopify? I wasn't quite like that. No, but I was like, yeah, cool. Like I knew that it was big, but maybe not quite so big. And then I contacted Brian, and Brian was like, oh my god,
he's on TED Talks. He's like everywhere.
This is this could be the guy that we need. So we flew to Bali to meet him. He was on his way to Australia. We rendezvoused.
We had a meeting, and we were like,
this guy's great. Yeah. And then we spoke to Logan, Caroline, and Brian, and they agreed to let him look at what we'd done so far in India. And nice. He was like, this coding is just garbage. Well, like, yeah. So he's turned it into the piece of art that it is currently.
Yeah.
Which we're super, super proud of, because I just cannot be bothered if there's a clunky app that's not quite working and it's second rate, and we're always dealing with that in the sailing industry. It's so frustrating. We get third rate stuff like all the time at triple the price as well.
A lot of ways.
And so this guy made it his mission to just make it.
There was Jean-Michel, Alex, and Fred, and they all the devs, and they all coded day and night. Where Jean-Michel's from in Canada, and they built this app from the ground up. And now there's so many people on the team, and the app is like better than we could have ever dreamed. And we really had to go through that process in India and try and pull it off. Because, I mean, you got to start somewhere. And if we had have never even started and did this in India, and then, it was all for a reason. But we're just so happy that what happened did. And now, like, I look at the app and it is so clean and beautiful and exactly as we'd hoped. It's a dream, really. And we're so close to launching. There's a few thousand beta testers, and we're just about to release the Android version for all you Android people.
How many
There's only 3 of us at the moment. There's only 3 Android users.
When you open your map at the moment, are there many people around or not really just yet?
No, not for the Med. There was a couple of anchorages we've been to over the past week. The last anchorage we were in, there was one guy slightly, probably about half a nautical mile away from us, but I looked at his profile picture and he did look like somebody who might murder you, so I thought I'm probably not going to message that guy. Then we went in another anchorage just after that, and there was a younger looking couple there, but we were leaving like the morning after. Generally what I do when I get into an anchorage, if I know we're going to stay for a few days, I'll get on the dinghy, I'll round everyone up, and I'll bring them over to the boat, because not many people do that, it seems. Everyone's quite shocked when I go over. I'm like, do you want to come over for a drink? So I've invited everyone in the anchorage, and they go, oh, okay. So we'll do that if it's a few days, but I haven't had a chance to like gather people on it yet and bring them all together, which I think I'll get in Greece, because like most cruisers are based around Greece. Really?
Yeah. So we're the same in the Philippines. There's not that many people here anyway. But we're as you said before, as it gets populated, and we think like we've made a documentary about it, and when we start, sort of promoting it, and it gets out there, I can't wait till it sort of reaches terminal velocity, I guess, and you just have to be on there because everyone else is. And because that's the point when I think it would just be incredibly helpful for every single cruiser out there. It's already been helpful. Like I've been able to, I got a lot of information about Subic Bay, which is where the boat is at the moment.
Yeah.
From people there, and I was communicating with them in a way that I could never have been. And reaching, but that's very specific. I think it would be much broader. And helpful for many more people.
Yeah, like filtering. Filters are amazing on the map, like the Explorer map. When you see all the sailors, which at the moment there's just a few thousand. So if you filter like looking to crew or I need to find crew or dating, like the dating's really fun. Boats with kids, like
I thought that was funny when the dating question popped up. It was like, "Are you looking to date?" I was like, "Not recently." I don't take yes on that one.
Yeah. No, it's really fun to play with the filters, and it'll be much funner when everyone's on the app. So yeah, we're looking forward to launch day, but you can jump on beta now if you want.
Good work, babe.
Yeah. Is that a good pitch? Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, that was very good. Yeah, that was a great one. Cool. Are you going to be at the Annapolis boat show this year?
No, we're not.
That's in October, and if we were to come, like, it would set us back. Like, we'd probably get taken by a hurricane for sure. So
yeah, we really need to pour all of our concentration and energy into the boat at the moment to get it up to Japan. Yeah,
100%.
Are you going?
Yeah, that sounds fair enough. I think so. Yeah, we've got. But since I started doing the festival, like, because most of the people that come are from the States, a lot of them go to the Annapolis boat show. So we're going to do we're going to do a party for like everyone there and all that type of stuff, and then might be doing something with Jeff as well, like a podcast with multiple people with Jeff's involved. So maybe I've never been to Annapolis before. I've never really been anywhere like that in America before, because I've only been to like, New York, Florida, Texas for work a lot when I was working in the energy industry before. Annapolis is stunning. Like, it's such a pretty place. I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, the history there, it's so rich. Like, all the buildings are super old, and you can just feel it, can't you?
They got an Australian mayor.
Oh yeah, they got an Australian mayor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no way.
Yeah, he invited us over for dinner, but we never took him up on it in the end.
Dinner with the mayor.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
An Australian mayor in Annapolis.
Yeah,
I would have thought that.
Yeah,
I would not have imagined that one.
Yeah,
people do get everywhere though, so it isn't that surprising.
It is a nice spot, hey.
It's incredible, and like the people are so friendly there as well. Like we've lived in Spain for like the past I don't know 6 or 7 years, like in between when we've been cruising during the summers and then getting on the boat, and probably not so openly friendly in Spain. So go into Annapolis for a week and just like walking down the street and people going, "Oh, hello, how's your day going, sir?" I was like, "Well, it's amazing. Let's chat about it. Let's get into it." I think people rarely take it that far. I think hey, how are you doing is a bit of like a passive greeting in America, but I was like open to conversation with everyone. But it's incredible. It's so pretty. People are so friendly.
It is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great spot. If there's anyone listening that like wants to get into sailing, that kind of doesn't know where to start, or is like dreaming about a boat, definitely book tickets to the boat show. There's the Cruisers Awards too, which is being hosted this year, not by us, but the team, and that's a lot of fun. Yep. So you get to see like some.
I think Brian and Karen are going to do it.
Yeah.
At least a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Spoke to Brian the other day.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can see people out there doing cool things. Like, there's awards for there's a lot of categories. But yeah, it's nice to walk around and see all the different boats. There's a lot of day drinking going on. Like, can we just talk about
hectic.
that? Like, it's pretty bloody hectic.
Breakfast drinking.
What are those cocktails?
Let's be honest.
Painkillers?
Painkillers, yeah.
Painkillers. Yeah. Everyone's walking around with a painkiller. You too sometimes.
Have you tried those things?
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, I
they
tried
are disgusting.
About 8 for our Patreon speech one year. And
oh yeah, but
you had 8 of those.
No, I don't know. I had too many though.
Yeah, it'd been a big weekend.
Oh man, they are horrible.
We had a talk and Riley got wildly drunk. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was really funny, wasn't it?
I remember turning up. There was loads. As soon as I said, "All right, I'm going to Annapolis on the podcast," loads of people started messaging like, "Oh, we'll meet up. We'll have beers and stuff." And there was so many generous people there. Like that was insane. I really didn't have to pay for any drinks. But then I was meeting with Lauren in the morning, Lauren Landers, you know her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we'll get a painkiller in the morning. Everybody does it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." So I went and got this drink, and I was literally like, "What the fuck is this poisonous shit? This is fucking horrible. People are drinking this at 9 o'clock. They have a problem."
Hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, she was smashing them. Yeah, I literally took one sip and I was like, "This is fucking disgusting. Like, what are these people doing?" So yeah, I'm not going to be drinking one of those. I like a Guinness for breakfast. Guinness is nice.
Ooh, I think I'd take the painkiller, but yeah, if you're going to the boat show, get me for a good time.
Guinness, yeah, instead of porridge, I suppose you could do that.
Porridge.
Yeah,
it's very
thick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's thick. Potentially mix them together. I'm sure the Irish have tried that. That wouldn't surprise me. All right, well, listen, guys, we'll end it there because I think we've been going for about an hour. Sea people, let's just sign off with a bit of that. Like, what's the message on that now? Should people be waiting for a few more weeks? Do you want more people to do the beta testing? What are you thinking?
No, you can get it right now.
Yeah, jump on now. It's already proven itself to be so useful and fun. And yeah, I guess, Andy, you'll put some links in the description and download the app and you can see where we are. You can see people sailing in real time. Like, it's super cool just to snoop on their speeds and stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
We really think that it's going to change the way that people basically do sailing. We think it's going to be the go-to, app or piece of technology, basically. So looking forward to see how it goes.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to watching. Logan was saying that you've made the documentary about it as well. When's that coming out?
As soon as we make it live. Launch day.
Launch day.
Yeah. So you're going to go bang, bang. So we're really excited for that.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's going to be great. All right, guys. Well, listen, enjoy the Philippines, spending time with the beautiful Filipino people, some of my favourite people in the world over there. And,
nice.
suppose we'll enjoy Sea People when it starts launching.
Nice one, dude. Great to catch up.
Yeah.
Really nice to meet you.
Nice one.